All right. What's going on, folks? Little biblical interpretation here now. It's about being real. And let me tell you something. In this day and age, you've got to be real. You with yourself for sure. If you're not, I mean, I don't. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. You can't follow someone. I mean, you can follow someone, but you can't, emulate them to to an idol worship, pretty much. The way things are going, these. Of gods being worshipped. It's not, it's not the one true living one. And I feel that, centuries and centuries and centuries, all the way till now, it's the same thing. It's the same rhetoric. It's everything that's worshiping, other gods, or viewing themselves as gods. You know what I mean? I mean, it's what it is. I mean, in the Bible, it says gods and kings there are, but then, what happened? Back in the day, everyone steered away, and now you look at today, I mean, everyone's steering away. Steering away from the true. I remember I had a conversation one time, and, for instance, me, I feel that, obviously there's a dissension, of Jesus Christ. So, in the Bible, I mean, for instance, these two were looking up, and the one says, "Why are you looking up?" He's going to come back down the same way he went up. Right. So I had this conversation, and this one girl was like, "So you believe that it's actually going to happen? Like you physically think that, he's going to descend from the clouds, and here it goes." And I said, "Yeah, you got the spiritual war that's going down. I mean, hell, what, I mean, Trump just mentioned, a peace plan. Timothy talks about a peace plan. Talk about peace, rumors of wars. Here we go. Right." And yet, it's always like, yeah, it's like a physical sense. I really feel it. I felt it as a kid growing up. I mean, right now I still feel it, and it's what it is. It's to come. But she had a really good point, and she did. And what she said was, "Well, I feel it's in the mind. I feel, people are going to accept it in the mind. It's a mentality thing." And I was like, okay, somewhat an atheist would say for sure. But I mean, I didn't knock her for it, because it does make sense. I feel there's a physical, it's going to appear, it's going to happen, calamities just going to happen, it's going to go down. But, what she was saying, it did make sense, people on a mentality level, the barriers of the minds and all that stuff, that they come to reckon that, oh, okay, yeah, Jesus is real and that type deal. But, yeah, no, I don't, it's just a physical thing. You gotta make sure that, you understand yourself. If you understand yourself, great. If you don't understand what has gone on for centuries up until now, you're going to be lost. I mean, what's fun is that you could be that lost sheep, because out of that 99, the one, when the one goes astray and finds that one that's astray and brings them back, that's the joy. Bring him or her back. That's the joy than having, the other ones that never steered away from the herd. But yeah, it's definitely a I wrote some stuff in this huge journal. Like, I finished it a couple years back, and I was actually gonna publish that as an ebook, but I don't want to do that. I feel that there's a time and place to read that, but definitely got to pay attention to what's going on. This year, towards the end of the year, is going to get crazy. It's going to get real crazy. But you gotta look at everything that's going on. And there's too much negativity. There's way too much. It's a bash fest online. It's crazy. That's all it is. It's just a bash fest. He said, she said. I mean, just look at where we're steering. Look at that. I mean, it's incredibly, the growth mindset is not there anymore. It is, but it's not. It's all to cover up. What are you covering up? You know what I mean? Back in the day, you get the Sadducees and the Pharisees. They wanted to. Everyone saw what happened. They wanted to, send it a different way, which is to cover up what was really, happening. And that's where everyone gets really convoluted throughout, the centuries and centuries past. When you look, I mean, come on, when you got Hitler, when you got him, you say a lie so many times, you believe it. Well, there you go. You deter people from, the word so many times. What are you starting to believe? You know what I mean? Like, you look at religions and myths that kind of just coincide with each other. It's what it is. I mean, you look at all the mythologies from Celtic, Greek, Roman, all the mythologies, Chinese mythologies, everything. Everything all stems from different gods and all that stuff, or it's a worship of an idol or the one self. It's never, like I said, it's a deterrent. It's all of an enlightenment trying to, unleash the real you. And don't get it twisted. Release the real you. But you've got to understand that all this is just a spiritual warfare until the physical takes place. Like, this is all it is. I mean, you can have knowledge about everything and anything, and don't get it twisted. Read. You got to read. You got to read everything. You really do, to understand. But if you lose the text, if you lose the true belief and meaning, and look, and everyone wants to put the whole, well, why did this happen? I'm bitter towards God. That's why, because he did it. Not really. That's not how that rolls. I believe what you put into your body is, in your mind, and what you feed is who you are. You know what I mean? I mean, hell, you are the 5 people who you hang out with, so you are what you eat and you are what you read, but I must say, I mean, look, there wasn't enough matter. I mean, not enough gravity for the Big Bang to kind of happen. Anyways, oh man, yeah, that's listen. I mean, we got Stephen Hawking. You got this dude. Search the ends of the universe. All right. I mean, and what did he come up with? I searched the end, and there's no God. What I mean? You say it enough times, like I said, you say it enough times, and you got a following, and people are gonna, they're gonna spread it. They're gonna spread it, and it spreads like a disease. It spreads like the coronavirus. No, I'm kidding. I mean, look at the censorship. The censorship is unreal. I mean, that's obviously the big, blow up with the book of, 1984 and, a new Brave New World, all that, kind of coincides together and all that stuff. And it coincides with a lot of people to these days. you know, you have, I mean, there's too many topics, man. I mean, there's too many, climate change. I mean, that's a huge one. It's a huge one. What do we do with that? What do we do? What do we do? Nobody really knows. I mean, there's a theory, and again, see, and that's another, all theories, right? Everything's a theory, right? But there's one out there that's called the relational cycle, and pretty much, cold, the sun, we're about to enter a cold period. So you have decades of cold periods, like freezing, like where we perish is what it is. But then you got, global warming where it heats up and everything melts. So it's both sides of the argument, right? I don't know. It's pretty crazy, but you definitely gotta read up, and all it is research. You got to think. Every thought's been thought. Everyone's just paraphrasing. I look at it, life's just a big paraphrase, pretty much. You know what I mean? You're paraphrasing someone else's, whatever. You think your own thing. I mean, you're your own body. You think your own thoughts and all that stuff. But you got to think somebody's, some form, some shape, someone's, thought about it. You're just kind of, in a sense, paraphrasing. How do you get through school? You know what I mean? What are you doing? You're researching upon researching upon researching. You don't just research one thing. You go to the next page. You go to whatever. You got to research. That's the biggest thing, is researching. And then you come up with your own, version. But again, essentially, it's paraphrasing. You're paraphrasing, whatever you read or whatever whatever it is. But on this earth, we're run by feeling. You know what I mean? You got vibes, auras, all that good stuff. You got a telurt current, that's electricity under the ground, the earth and all that. And we're electricity, in a sense, what I mean? We're vibes. You know what fake vibes are? You know who the charlatans are? You know who the real people are. Hopefully you could tap into that, and, you could read people. It takes a while, but body language exudes all, and you could definitely tell. But if you have that gift, whatever. Do I believe you tap into more gifts? When you read and you expand your knowledge, obviously, you know what I mean? For sure. But it all coincides with what you believe in too. That has a lot to do with, again, it goes from the root of putting, food, what food you put in, what knowledge you source out and all that stuff. It's all one big being, and it's not that chakra crap either. Whatever. That's, I look at chakra and you compare that to like, the auras and all that stuff. But, I just, there's been sacrifices happening back in the day since, the Roman church and, everything else, back centuries ago. And it still happens to this day, whether it's human trafficking or child sacrifices or sacrifices in general. It's what it is. It's all to, for what power, right? The good power or the bad power? Well, what's a good power? What's a bad power? Well, I don't know. Read and you'll find out. Good and evil's real. It's what it is. It's real. Angels are real. The dominion, everything's real. There's a lot of stuff that can lead you down the rabbit hole per se. And, some people go down that rabbit hole, can't get out. Some people go down the rabbit hole and can get out with the whole, new knowledge, but still understand. It's kind of like Daniel, getting thrown in the lion's den. I mean, look, he went to the Babylonian court. Okay, he succeeded with his buddies. Okay, right. Well, how did he do? He ranked up. He knew what, Nebuchadnezzar and all of them were believing. He knew what was up. Definitely not God and Jesus. You know what I mean? Like, he definitely knew. But how do you rise to those ranks? I mean, you got people present day rise to the ranks of what? Followers for social media, whatever, to grow themselves, whatever, to this fake image of them, it's not losing yourself. If you know who your true God is and a living God, in what you truly believe, yes, you can rise to what you want to rise to, but don't lose yourself. Don't lose what you believe. Don't conform. You could take someone's opinion. That's the problem these days. Nobody wants to take anyone else's opinion. You want to shoot it down right away. look, I believe in what I believe in. I'm not going to shut you down because you don't believe in what I believe in. We could talk about it, right? That's what it is. You talk about it. Nobody wants to talk anymore. They just want to throw people down, in the pit per se, right? Which I think which is crazy. The conversation just ends. It's insane. It's become a text instead of a phone call these days. It's the feelings have just been not tapped into. Like I've always said, man, there's a handful of people that get it, handful of people that don't, and that's how it is in this world. There's a handful of people that get it, handful of people that don't. What it is. But you can't condemn them. You know what I mean? You can't shoot them down. You know what I mean? Hell, Daniel, means God. God's my judge, right? In the end, it's just what it is. You're going to get judged one or another. You can't be judging people right now. You're gay. You're gay. You can't change people. Nor should you. Nor should you want to. You know what I mean? You can't. If one's feeling that way, you're not going to. You know what I mean? You can discuss your opinion, but at the end of the day, they're going to go back to their four walls. They're going to be like, okay, that was cleverly said, but you're going right back to your thoughts. Your mind's a battle, and you got to battle it every day. But that's what it is. You can't force opinions, down people's throats. You can't do it. You can't. You can't. I mean, you can't simply. I want you to believe in this. I want you to believe in that. And then all of a sudden, what are you doing? You're pushing them into the wrong direction. People's lost touch with the word, man. I mean, you go to churches and stuff like that. The word don't even get, preached. I mean, it's all like a self thing. Self this, self this, self this. You could be selfless, right? You could do that thing. You can't be selfish, but you can't be egoed. Can't be all that. You can't do it. You gotta do what you gotta do. And like I said, if you don't read and you don't get, your mind, expanded and all that with that growth mindset. And if you don't take initiative, and you feel, I'm too busy. You're just going to be driving with blinders on your whole entire life. And you're going to, and it's funny when people go down the street that they've done a million times, they're looking like, oh my God, I never noticed that shop before. You know what I mean? It's because you don't slow down. You don't slow down and take a look. You can, there's a good book by, Claudia Hammond. She wrote it's called Time Warp. Fantastic book. It's about people's perception of time and how they view it. It's amazing. And timing is everything. Opportunities are always there. Obviously, you got to seek it. You're the one who's got to seek it. Nobody else is going to seek it for you. You know what I mean? You got to do what you got to do. Even more these days, especially when you're trying to be self-made and do your thing, but you gotta believe in something. You do. You just can't. I mean, everyone has questions. No one has all the answers. You know what I mean? It's all, an opinion. Sorry, my dogs are doing their thing. But like I said, we're one big opinion. You know what I mean? But something inside you is driving you to do something. You know what I mean? Your brain is everything. You lose it or use it. You know what I mean? And the biggest scary thing is mental illness. And people don't like to talk about that stuff. But nobody likes to talk about it. Wants to, throw it underneath the rug, and that's a joke. I mean, that goes back in the day. I mean, and it's crazy how much it wraps to now. And you got to seek help. You got to have sympathy for people. You do. You can't just go around and, oh my God, don't, oh no, there's something wrong. I've never been a medicine guy. I've always went the whole holistic thing. But you got people that unfortunately, Pills ruin you, man. They do. Pills ruin it. But you get your body accustomed to it, and all that. Now you have no choice. You can wean yourself off, but if you've gone years and years and years, it's pretty tough to get yourself. But it just takes that right person or right change of mindset to. Again, it's you. You got to do it. You have to. You got to do it. You got to want to change. You got to want to do your thing. But you also got to surround yourself with the right people. You know what I mean? And do I believe the big pharma industry is ruining everyone? Yeah, they are. I mean, look, you got cures out there that you don't need a damn pill. You don't need it. You got plants, you got other stuff that'll that'll help you. Vigorous exercise, all that mental activities, always keeping your mind going, but it stems from childhood too. How you were raised. I remember all the time when I was working with patients before, I would always say, how's your childhood? Boom, you dig right into the childhood, because it always stems from that. It could be from, crappy BPDs and NPDs are real. Multiple personalities, borderlines, that stuff is real. All right. You got psychosis, you got a disconnect from reality. The stuff's all real. But what happened? Something had to have happened, traumatically, molestation, whatever it was, something goes down, parents, it's how you're brought up, hopefully, if you were brought up in that, condition, hopefully you seek help to get out, and you or maybe you took a desire to learn and, really, look at yourself and not in shame, and just be like, I'm better than this. I carry some demons, and we all do. It's how you suppress it and how you how you want to battle it every day. You keep them close or you keep them far. I feel you got to keep them close. But there's too many people that want to, steer people in the wrong direction, and everyone has an idea, but is it a good idea? But you definitely got to take everything with a grain. You definitely got to openly engage people. Definitely talk about the tough stuff. Nobody wants to talk about the tough stuff. Everyone gets weird about it. Everyone gets awkward. And fight through that thick air. You know what I mean? Fight through it. You can turn a situation awkward into non-awkwardness, but it all depends on the person. You got people that carry good vibes. You got people that carry horrible vibes that can ruin a vibe just like that real quick. Don't surround yourself with that. Do not. Don't do it. I have a podcast called MFR Podcast, and my buddy, my bassist, and I, we run that. We did one on cults. We got a next one about religions and stuff, because there's way too many. So we want to cover all that. But like I said, in a nutshell, it all kind of stems into their own version of what the real truth is. It's just a slight manipulation, but that type of teaching is manipulating the masses, and that's unfortunate. But it's what it is. People kind of go their own route. Believe me, go your own route. Be you. Do you. You got to do you. Definitely. But like I said, with the whole change thing, you can't change anyone for who they are. You can't. All you can do is provide an opinion to make one think. That's all you can do. It's all you can do. You can't condemn people. You can't do that. It's not your place, right? This isn't our place. But the whole peace plan that's being initiated and all that, just read it for yourself. I mean, it's the end of the end, right? I'm not being a curmudgeon. It's what it is. You got to read it to understand it, right? Read the text. It'll tell you. It'll explain to you. It does, because you got to understand the latter. You got to understand the past, understand the present. It's just what it is. If you don't, I don't know what to say. gain up that knowledge. That's what you got to do. You got to do it. In the meantime, you got to do your real life. You got to do you. You got to pay bills. You got to, I'm not saying conform to the society, but you got to do what you got to do, to sustain in this life. You got to live, So, I mean, that's just doing what you got to do. You're your own path, You're being guided, you just, hopefully you're being guided in the right direction. You just got to take the right opportunities and, look into the people who you're with and all that stuff. And, really understand, because if you don't, it's going to be a tough life. That battle of the mind every night and every day, it's going to be even tougher. It's way tougher. Then you're going to be looking for outs to, help soothe. You don't want to do that. If you can do it on your own and keep your mind active, keep yourself busy. That's what it is. Just keeping yourself busy. Doing good things. I mean, it's too easy to get bored in this life. It's what it is. I mean, how you get bored swiping the phone. You know what I mean? That gets boring. But that ends. The phone, you know what I mean? The technology is great, but at some point it's going to end. That's what it is. Text stuff goes down. Electricity goes down. That's what it is, Can you, people look at social media that in a negative aspect. Yeah, it is. I mean, you could definitely view it. Can you look at it as a gain though? Can you gain? I mean, how the new business card now is your how many followers you have. Can you brand me with your followers? You know what I mean? Like, oh, hey, you got a lot of followers. Let me brand. You know what I mean? And that's like the striving of the people these days of who has the most followers, and that's where the real disconnect can be. That's when you start losing yourself for sure. Look, you want to scale a business? Do you start your own business? Do you do what you got to do? But ethically and morally, for sure. Make sure your business consensus aligns with you morally. If you don't believe in what the hell they're doing, what you work for, don't work for them. You find someone better. If it's paying your bills, I understand you got to do what you got to do what you got to do, but make sure you, find something better that, so you're not content, content with somebody else's, ideology per se, growth, go for growth and self business. Definitely do something for yourself. You don't want to make someone else rich, right? But, in the meantime, you got to do what you got to do, though. It's all stepping stones. That's what it is in life. It's a stepping stone, and not Muhammad jumping off that stone either. But anyways, in the Bible it says Jesus jumped off a stone as well. But anyways, yeah, you just gotta understand what your true meaning is, and all it sometimes takes is to look up for sure. Hell, even the planets. Look at the planets; they're all named after gods except Earth. Earth ain't even named after a god. Why is that, right? But yeah, the moral is just to be you. Find your moral compass and drive to be you. You have to be you. Everyone's unique. Everyone says, "Oh, we're all the same." No, everyone's unique. Everyone. It's just, are you easily, persuaded? Are you, can you be conveyed into, can you be conformed to follow can you be a follower? Just be a doer, be you. You know what I mean? Do you and be you, be real to you. You have to. And like I said, everyone, I mean, that's the biggest talk. Look at it. What's the biggest talk? Religion. Always. It's the hugest talk in the world. It's the biggest talk, because nobody understands. So what do? You convolute it with science. You convolute it with all these theories. You convolute it with all these ologies. Get it? You could throw anything onto an ology, astrology, whatever else. Throw that, weed all that out. You know what I mean? And history teaches you a lot for sure. It definitely teaches you a lot. Have we progressed? Hell yeah, we progressed. Come on now. I'm not saying we didn't progress. We definitely progressed for good and bad. But like I said, handful of good people, handful of bad people. Find the right people, find the good people, find what you want. Find your inner you. You got to do what you got to do. But understand there is a true living God, and definitely got to get acquainted, because that calamity is it's going to happen. It's inevitable, right? Worldwide. It's what it is. But definitely fight through the clamor. Got to fight through it. And put that armor on, because people's vibes are thick out there. You know, that's what makes people self-conscious, is when you got another vibe that's really energized in someone, but it could be bad. It could be a bad, but you could definitely tell. Your intuition's everything. Come on now. You can definitely tell. You know what's up. You know what's up. Don't ignore it. You know what's up, but just fight through that. Be like, be like, whatever you got to do to get through that, whatever that person's exuding off of them, or you know what I mean, onto you. Fight, just clench that chest and take a breath, and you'll fight that anxiety, that that fight or flight risk. You'll fight it, because when you don't have fear, you don't fear anyone. And then I swear to God, everything just starts falling into place. Oh, that's tough. It's tough. Work on it. Every day you got to work on yourself, right? Work on it. So you got to definitely work on yourself. But when you cast out fear in your life and you only fear one thing, God, I'm dead serious. Everything just kind of whisks away. You kind of look at people and you kind of you don't get scared anymore. You really don't. Obviously, if your life's in danger, those feelings are overwhelming. It's the physiology. Duh. You can't fight your chemicals. Chemicals who are. But if you eradicate the fear, you can overcome it. You can overcome it. You calm down, breathe. Saying is just as easy as doing, but you have to do it. Right. That's all it is. You got to do. You got to do you.